It has been a long time coming, but now I can finally sit down and tell you what I think of Tron Ares. Now, Tron Ares has been talked about now for the past several years. I remember back in 2018 them saying like, hey, we are now working on a new Tron film. We have the script. We want to see if people are interested in making it happen. And that is as much information as I remember seeing. That they were working on a sequel to Tron Legacy, and, it was going to be this really great thing, and then it just went quiet. Completely quiet. Until, obviously, I believe it was 2023 is when we actually got an actual chair reveal that they were actually going to work on this new Tron movie. And I got super excited. I even made a video on this channel talking about that very fact. And I mean, I was as surprised as anybody that they were actually going through with this. But obviously, that was to the extent that I knew of the project. After that chair reveal, we got some set reveals. They said that it was going to be led by Jared Leto, and everybody was just kind of on the fence about it. Nobody knew anything about it. And then obviously, recently, a couple months ago, the first trailer dropped. The first teaser trailer dropped for Tron Ares. I saw that teaser trailer and I was like, okay, this is kind of interesting. I'm not buying it yet. Like, it doesn't seem like it's a movie that I'm fully diving into. So I was like, okay, fine. This looks okay. Then the second trailer drops, and then I'm like, okay, I'm a little bit more convinced, but it just does not, I don't see the click there. It wasn't clicking with me at all. So I said, you know what, I'm going to wait a little while, get a ticket later on, and maybe that is where we're gonna catch Tron, And I said, I'm going to wait till the reviews come out and see if people are liking it or not. And then I was like, okay, it's already like a week before the movie comes out. There has been no reviews or anything, so I'm just gonna buy my tickets right away. So I bought my tickets, and then the very next day is when the reviews came out, and everybody was talking about this movie, and the reviews had been pretty much the same. It's either a really great movie that has great music and has great visuals, but the story is not there. Well, I unfortunately have to kind of deviate from that fact, because I do believe that there is some substance in this story that flew over a lot of people's heads. And before we begin, I just want to say one really quick thing. There will be spoilers in this video. I just wanted to let you guys know, because I truly believe I need to express a lot of things of this movie. And I just wanted to warn you about that. Now, if you haven't watched this movie, please go see it. Please go see it in theaters. I am telling you, it's worth it, but please go see it in theaters, enjoy it, and then come back and we can have this discussion. But if you've already seen this movie and you want to know my thoughts, let's continue. So let's talk about the three main things that everybody talks about when they are talking about Tron Ares. Music. I do believe that the music in this film is absolutely transcendent. Like, it literally is the very fiber of what makes a good chunk of this movie what it is. 9 Inch Nails literally knocked my freaking socks off. Like, we went to see this in a Dolby Cinema. We sat in that Dolby seat, and for the first time, after having watched several films, I'm talking about Jurassic World Rebirth, Fantastic Four, Superman. We've watched Thunderbolts in that same theater, and I am telling you this, of all of those films, only Tron Ares has ever even come close to using the full potential of the audio in that theater. I have never been inside a Dolby Cinema theater and been fully immersed with sound, and that is literally like the fiber of this movie. How well the sound fills the space. The music just gets you, like it just fills you up as you're watching this movie. Like, I was like literally feeling the beat of every moment in this movie. And it just really like pumped me up. Like, this is the type of music you put on when you want to walk out in an epic way. This is the type of music you want to listen to. And I think Nine Inch Nails knocked it off the park. I mean, it's incredible what Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross was able to make in this film. And honestly, I truly believe they should actually go and do a second film along with, everybody who worked on this one. Do another one. Even though we have more stuff to discuss in the end, we could definitely see a progression there moving forward. And I really do wish that they do a sequel to this film and bring back Nine Inch Nails, because they were absolutely amazing. I mean, I felt it in my butt. Just so you guys could like visualize it. I could feel the vibration in my butt from how well they use the audio. Now, the second thing that people talk about are the visuals. The visuals in this movie are just chef's kiss, beautiful. Beautifully well done. There are moments in this movie where you are questioning if that is CG or if they did it practically. That is the type of CG that should be done for every movie. That is the level of CG I expect from movies. Like, I want to question what I am watching, and this movie made me question what I am watching. I just absolutely love the design work that came into making this world what it is. Being able to see the transition of these, these AIs that are from this, computer-based world being transferred over into the real world, and just having these like bikes on the streets, and like the bike cutting the police car. I mean, if you've seen the trailer, you know what scene I'm talking about, but cutting the police car like literally in half, like incredible. And there are more moments where I was just like watching this movie and just my jaw was like I literally was speechless. There were moments in this movie where I was literally speechless, and it just blew my mind how well and how well choreographed they actually designed this world. I mean, even down to the vintage feel of the vintage grid. Oh my goodness, just absolutely amazing. Literally gotta give ILM and the entire Disney, world of visual effects teams absolute props, because this is just absolutely amazing what they were able to pull off in this film. And my jaw was hitting the floor. That's all I can say. And I also would like to add on top of that we actually saw this not only in Dolby, but Dolby 3D. That is the first time I've sat in a Dolby theater and I have watched a 3D film in that theater, and it's just absolutely amazing. Like, the 3D really does complement, the visual effects that you're seeing. There are moments where you're sitting there and you just feel like the theater is just moving in certain moments, which it just feels absolutely breathtaking. Honestly, AMC needs to do more 3D showings of movies, because I am more likely to go see it in 3D than any other situation. So big props to Disney, AMC, and the fact that it was in 3D. And the third thing that people talk about is the story. And that's usually the weak part that everybody talks about. Everybody is saying like, oh, the story is weak, the story isn't really well fleshed out, it feels bland, and it feels like we've seen this before. Okay, fine. But we've talked about this in various occasions. You can talk about Blade Runner. You can talk about freaking Terminator, even. I mean, honestly, sure, we have seen these beats in other places before. But to see it in a Tron film, to sit in a theater and see a story that talks about the fragility of life, to talk about instances of life where, one thing can't exist without the other. Understanding that, like, sometimes the finite resources that we have are sometimes precious, and that we need to, like, utilize every moment that we can when we are, alive, and we're, trying to connect with people. I think that that is a beautiful message. And it's there. It's in the movie. And it's so funny because I see so many people complaining about this movie being bland and that the story isn't there. I think that that's a truly in-depth thing to be talking about, especially now when everybody's talking about AI and seeing how AI is kind of like forming its own ideas sometimes that we are just shocked with, because ultimately we created this to kind of help us. But in the end, I think that that also plays into, some of the darker side. And I feel like this movie kind of covers both. We create, this technology, and it kind of can work either in our benefit or in our demise. And I feel very strongly that this is actually the message that they're trying to convey here. And it's an important one. So I give them props for having the guts to do it in a Tron movie. It also touches upon, what makes us human, and how certain moments could actually change your perspective entirely on life. And I mean, just seeing Ares kind of like grow and start to understand sentient feeling, and then finding out that he likes certain things. He talked about Depeche Mode in this movie, and just having those like callbacks to 80s, music, and having those connections to feelings and sensations. That's something that's really interesting, and exploring that in an AI sense is a really cool idea, and I think they pulled it off really well for this film. And honestly, you cannot have this movie without its cast, and I think it was really well cast. I think every single person had a very solid role in this movie. It portrayed every character really well. I mean, you have Greta Lee, which is Eve, and I think she did a really great job kind of playing this character who's actually trying to continue her sister's work, and then you find out about her sister and how she passed away. And I think there is definitely that emotion that's at play there throughout the entire film. And it's also a bit of a play on sort of like the Garden of Eden. She's Eve, and she's there creating these trees who are there to like make the world a better place. And you can definitely see that she's wanting to use the idea of the permanence protocol to kind of birth a new age of sustainability. And that's a really cool idea, a really brilliant idea to bring up in a Tron film. You'd expect this from other movies, but in a Tron film, that's a really ballsy move, and I think they pulled it off really well with her and that character. Now, obviously, we move on to Evan Peters, who is playing sort of like the grandson of Dillinger, and him in creating this AI, creating Ares, understanding that the training process that took Ares to becoming what he is. That's a really great intro to the film. The movie starts off that way. Seeing Ares being constructed, and then him training and understanding how to fight and be like a really proactive fighter. Those are great moments, absolutely great moments that are infused there. And Evan Peters being behind it and being sort of like this like really crazy, sort of like CEO of this company now. And he's also joined by Gillian Anderson, I should say, who plays his mother and is a great role. Even though that she is only there for a little bit of the movie, she truly does play his anchor and kind of like brings him down. Even though he does not want to be brought down, I think that it's a great role, and she delivers really well, ultimately to her demise. But I think that she did a great job, even though it was a small role. I think she did a great job here and really gave some impact to the moments that needed the impact. So, great job on her end. Now, we can't talk about this movie without talking about none other than the dude himself, Jeff Bridges, who comes back to this movie in a very interesting role. Like, we get to see him in the vintage realm of the original Tron. We get to see him in that world. And there's a lot of great, consciousness questions that are brought up when we see him in that moment in the film. I think he does a great job tying this movie together, talking about whether it's the fragility of life, talking about what makes us human. him trying to test Ares, seeing Flynn kind of test Ares to see if he actually has the capability of human emotion, and then ultimately been given, the protocol to actually, tackle, real life and ultimately be a permanent piece of society. That's a really great, dynamic at play there, and having that conversation between him and Jared Leto, and having that conversation is just absolutely awesome. And I gotta give them all the props in the world for making that happen. Now, obviously, we also have, as part of Dillinger's, creation, we have Athena, which is played by Jodie Turner-Smith. She is an unstoppable force in this movie. She is badass. And I mean, honestly, there's no other word to describe it. She is visceral in this role. Visceral. I truly believe that she wants to take control. She sees some level of favoritism in Ares when, we have Dillinger speaking to him at least, speaking to Ares, and then she feels like almost sidelined, but then in part, when he gives her master control, you kind of see it in her eyes, like, okay, now I'm in control, I'm going to take this. So I think Jodie Turner-Smith did absolutely beautifully well, and she kicks some major ass in this movie. And then finally, we have to talk about our lead role, our titular character, the character whose name is on the poster and everything that has to do with this movie, Ares himself, Jared Leto. I think Jared Leto did a great job in this movie. Great job. I saw a lot of people critiquing him, saying like, oh, he played it flat, he played it like this. Listen, A, he's a program. B, he is a program that is designed by Dillinger and not Flynn. You have to keep that in mind. When you are watching this movie, all of these programs that were designed by Dillinger, they're not emotive. They don't have emotion. They don't have feeling. They haven't experienced the real world. So to them, they are soldiers and they have to follow orders. There is no emotion. The only reason why, we see Jared Leto having to exude some micro levels of emotion is because he is actually transferred into the real world and is designed to be the ultimate weapon. And when he sees the real world, sees and has those sensations of rain and being this sort of overwhelming, overly stimulated moment, that is when it kind of clicks to him that, oh wait, there is more to this than meets the eye, because now I get to be in this world and there's people and rain and there's these whole slew of different sensations. So I do think that because he is designed by Dillinger, he is not designed to have emotion. Unlike if he was designed by, let's say, Flynn. Flynn is designing, these ISOs, as he puts it in Tron Legacy. These ISOs are ultimately free-thinking, free-flowing, and they are not bound by rules in this world. He just wants them to exist in this world and have free will, unlike Dillinger. So whenever you see or whenever you hear somebody criticizing, oh, he was playing it flat, understand that he is doing exactly what needed to be done to portray this character. If he existed where Flynn is in the other universe, in the other, Tron universe, honestly, he would have more emotion, he'd be more in depth, but nonetheless, I think he did beautifully well, and I think the hate has to stop. People need to stop hating on Jared Leto. Jared Leto is a great actor. He is a great actor. Put that in your head. Just because he's in a handful of movies that didn't do very well, I want to be very clear with you. Just because he did not become a super successful actor does not mean that he is a bad actor. He's a great actor, and he did great in this movie. So I think he deserves all the praise in the world for doing a great job here. Now, if you want to know something that kind of irked me a little bit from this movie, and mind you, I don't have a whole lot to critique of this movie, but if there's one thing that kind of really irked me a bit, is that Cameron Monaghan. Yeah, that Cameron Monaghan. He is in this movie. Okay? But he shows up for like literally 10 or 15 seconds of screen time. Dude, this guy trained for this movie. Like, there's literally videos of him training to fight and do these awesome coordinated, fight sequences. And he only shows up for like 10 seconds on screen. That really kind of irked me. Because I was like, dude, you have this super talented actor and all you use him for are like 10 seconds. And it still boggles my mind that Disney still has not announced or is focused on bringing the story that they have in Jedi, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order or Jedi Survivor, and yet they still have not decided to make something live action with the whole cast. Please, for the living, whoever you worship, I am telling you, this guy deserves his own Disney Plus show. Like, even if it's just an 8-episode, 1 hour episode each kind of series, this guy deserves it. He just deserves it, okay? And it's a really sad thing to not see him a lot in this film. And something that sometimes irks me as well are endings of films. And I'm so glad that this movie ends on such a good note. It ends really well. You get a sense that Ares is now going on a journey of self-discovery. He wants to experience the world. And ultimately, I love the fact that he is now in search of Korra. That very end of the movie where we see him holding the picture of Korra and Sam Flynn, and that he is in search of her now. I love that idea. I love that this is where they're taking this story. And honestly speaking, this is definitely what I want to see. Like a continuation of what they set up in Tron Legacy and where they could expand on that. And being that it's been, 15 years since the last Tron, I mean, come on, people. Like, this could be it. This could be the movie to push another movie. And I think the ending just actually does a great job of tying that in. And someone who I truly value their opinion, and I sometimes am kind of hesitant to talk about a film with, because he catches on to things that I don't catch on to. And as much as I'm there to enjoy a film, he finds things that I don't see in a film, and that's my dad. And we actually discussed the movie right afterward. As soon as the movie ended, I turned to him and I was like, "So hey, did you like the movie?" And he was like, "Listen, I know what you're about to hear is crazy, and you're not gonna believe me, but I freaking loved this movie." Like, when he told me that, I was like, "Whoa, he liked this movie." And I was like, so what did you like about the movie? And he was like, "I loved the sound." He told me that he loved the sound. He loved the pacing of this movie. Like, this movie is a non-stop movie. Like, you're literally, like, the story is building and building and building and building on top of everything. And you're just there experiencing every single piece be built. And honestly, what he said in the end is that this movie truly touches on aspects of life that you don't expect from a Tron film. They talk about, fragility of life and the meaning of life and how things are finite, and you have to, really truly grasp those things. So honestly, I was truly surprised that my dad actually loved this movie and to be there. And my mom also loved the movie too. So it's a really great thing to actually go see a movie that they truly enjoyed. And to think that I was a little bit on the fence about seeing this movie, and to ultimately see them like it was just awesome. And like I was saying before, I think after the ending, once you see that post-credit scene, that they're obviously trying to set up the future of Tron, and seeing that Evan Peters is kind of like digitized himself into his digital world, that was a really interesting push. Now, one thing that I did not like about that character is that his mom was literally there about to die or literally dying, and he couldn't have just sent her in to this digital world. I mean, like, with her in the digital world, you could essentially, like, reboot her, right? Like, if you have that person there almost dying, you could at least rescue them. But no, he just left her to die, and that just made me even more pissed off at this character. Like, he's like a real, like, ass. So, yeah, I'm really interested in seeing the future of Tron after that post-credit scene, because it sets up some really cool stuff. Now, what I see a lot from people is that they are going to try to find a comparison between this film and, obviously, Tron Legacy. Now, I really do not feel like it's a fair comparison, because both movies are very strong. Both are very strong in their missions. While Tron Legacy is a son in search of his father, this movie is more of an AI discovering what it means to be alive. And it really is a complete transition from what it was before. It is, in part, a theme that we do see in Tron Legacy. You know, Cora's entire mission, as she is with Kevin Flynn in that movie, she's learning, she's expanding, she wants to learn more things about humanity. And in a way, that connection is sort of similar to the connection that, Tron, Ares, I should say, not Tron Ares, but Ares himself is really trying to connect to Flynn when he goes into the digital realm and the old vintage realm of Tron. So I think in a huge part, both films are really strong, and both really get down to brass tacks and actually accomplish their mission, which is to actually make not only a great story, but just making something fun that people can go out and watch and enjoy. And both succeed. Now, if there is a contradictory thing inside of me that plays inside my mind, is that if there was a desire of mine or a thing that I would add to this movie is more time in the grid, inside this other grid, or even in the other grid, in the other, utopian grid, which is of the NCOM systems, not the Dillinger systems, but the NCOM systems, which are more bright and lush and beautiful. And I would have loved to explore that world a little bit more, even though we get like a little tiny piece of that world. I think like that would have been my one thing that I would love to see more of in this movie. But then again, it wouldn't have officially worked for this movie, because ultimately we're trying to tell Ares' story here, like his evolution from being just a simple line of code into becoming this fully fledged living being. So, man, I still truly love this film and its messaging behind that. And to round this movie off right now, I really do believe this movie deserves all the love and as much love as possible. And I would even go as far as to say, go see it in theaters right now. Just go see it. Go see it. If you haven't seen it already, go see it. You deserve the moment of actually going and sitting in a theater and actually enjoying this film. If you have already seen it, thank you for going and watching this movie. It deserves the support and love. And if you haven't watched it, go see it. Go see it in the theaters. Go see it in the biggest screen that you could possibly get it. If you haven't had time to go see it in a big screen, see it on a small screen, but go see it either way. This movie deserves to be seen on a big screen. It deserves to be seen and fully fledged and felt. Because you're not going to understand what it's like to sit in a movie theater and have that feeling of the music and sound and the visuals being this good. You need to go see this movie. I feel like a lot of people are going to miss out on this movie, wait for it to hit streaming, only for it to become the most popular movie in streaming. And that's probably what's going to happen. And it shouldn't be that way. It should not be that way. But if it is a desire of mine, I think that this could eventually maybe even become a Disney Plus series. And if it does become that, I'd be so glad. I'd be so glad if they would expand this onto Disney Plus and make a series expanding the story that ends as soon as Tron Ares ends. Even with that, almost cliffhanger of an ending. They should definitely continue this, and they deserve all the love and support. So please go see it in theaters. It deserves it. So like I say in every single one of my videos, I gave you my opinions, and now it's time for you programs to tell me your opinions and what you think of this film. As much as I absolutely love this movie, I know a lot of people have not liked this movie, but considering that the Rotten Tomatoes score has been pretty good for this movie, I'm not talking about critics here, I've been talking about only audience, considering that it's the best rated audience score for a Tron film, I don't know, maybe they will squeeze something out for this movie. But then again, that's my opinion and I want to hear yours. Do you want to see a new Tron series come on Disney Plus? Do you want to see another Tron movie? Do you want to see the continuation of this movie? Do you think that Tron should be absolutely cut and ended? I don't know. I want to hear from you. I want to hear your thoughts. And while you're down there in the comments writing it, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and hit the bell to be notified when new videos go live on this channel. And thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next video.
Scrolling through YouTube, same old routine, then bam, movie savant, what a scene. Trivia bombshells dropping knowledge like rain. Forget the dishes, gotta watch it again. Movie buffs unite, savants to place. Subscribe and hit the bell, don't leave a trace. Next level knowledge keeps you in the loop. Savants got the scoop, ain't nothing to recoup.